Suspect is driving a 71 four-door green Dodge Dart, possibly bearing Alabama license plates. Suspect should be armed and very dangerous. Tennessee, possibly en route to and notify upon apprehension Detective Les McCaleb. The above subject left Nashville, Tennessee. All officers radiogram. All officers radiograms in reference to the Sirloin Stockade murders and the Lawrence family homicide. Break.
We felt like if the information was released, it would enhance our chances to bring him into custody. And we feel like that people ought to be aware, and also the law enforcement agencies across the country, so we can try to take him into custody as soon as possible.
Okay, if you don't know what that means, then you'll have to use your dictionary to look that up.
What about crestfallen? You have to use dictionary.
That's the same thing. This is interesting. Have you ever looked up long-distance rates before? All right. All of these questions are dealing with your opinion, how you feel. How about all? See, you can cover up that F. You have A or all. So you want to pick one of the words has nothing to do with the other words. We have receiver, cord, mouthpiece, cupboard, and hook. Do you know what a cupboard is? What
Is that where they store?
My name is Dolores Ortiz. I'll be administering the personnel classification test. The test has 3 parts: verbal analogies, math, and 2 essay questions. You're going to do all your writing on your answer sheet and none on your test booklet. If you'll write your name, today's date, and your social security number on your answer sheet, please.
Because I don't believe that there is a strong relationship between a person's performance on a standardized test and their ability to be a good teacher in the classroom. And I'd hate to put a great deal of weight on that one kind of measure in making an employment decision. I'd be much more comfortable in relying on the interview, writing samples, and seeing people work with children.
You need to answer those. As you can see on the book, it says you do not have to do what is your opinion. All right.
I think that teenagerism has entered education, and people are asking what they're getting for their tax dollar.
You find out. Keep going until you find. No, you have to go straight across.
7.
How many do we have to add to 8 to make 10?
4, 2.
2. Where are we going to get that 2 from? If I take 2 from the 7, what does that leave now? Okay.
5.
Yeah, 12. Okay, and those are the numbers. No, we're not on this one, but this one right here. Okay.
We might try to call it by something else, but it's pure and simple accountability, and I think it's time that our public school educators look at it for what it's worth and stand accountable for the products that they're putting out.
And B, those 2 paragraphs I just read, with respect to promotion or graduation, shall not apply to those pupils with diagnosed learning disabilities. Controversial makes success to have some significance. Amendments, for example, that I necessarily be entirely dependent upon such successful performance. School board shall establish a
Okay, good job. Okay, bus riders need to get their coats and papers out of their can first.
Ready? Ready? Move!
Just fire over. Infantry squad in the open. Key in effect. Over.
Direction 3200. Okay. Let's go ahead and go ahead and compute that. See what kind of recommended solution we have here. See what kind of recommendation we have here.
There, in my view, must be some way by which you can test an individual so that certain judgments can be made that yes, he has scored high enough in this aptitude area that he most likely would be able to graduate successfully from guided missile repair school or computer operator, that sort of thing.
Each of you has been given a test booklet, answer sheets, scratch paper, and a pencil. Do not open your test booklets until I tell you to do so. Put OKC, level of education that you have obtained at this purpose. If you... Okay, now, just in those top blocks across the top, 13-part test, and each separate test on this section is the KC. Okay.
Quarter 223.
223.
You will have 3 time towels at 15 seconds each. Stop. Please don't touch any more pigs.
in light of the energy crisis, the oil shortage. I think we should encourage people on nationwide TV, and I mean Brock Adams ought to get on TV and urge everyone to use trains wherever they are, or common carriage by whatever means exists instead of driving a car. And it's the big job is getting people out of the private automobile.
I can't hear them because I have 20 other cases on the regular motion docket that I must hear, and it wouldn't be fair for the other lawyers to preempt my docket to hear these matters. But if you have some short matters we can hear in 30 minutes, I'll try to accommodate you.
Seeing that the only available method fingerprints from under the work product privilege, are you excluded?
I don't think they'd be entitled to, or any specific.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
One of the nice things about being president is you get to go to a lot of very important places. Just recently, I've been in Mexico City. I've been in Jerusalem. I've been in Cairo, Egypt, and now to Elk City. Too many business leaders seem to feel that the anti-inflation program just doesn't apply to them, and the result is higher prices for everybody. We've already identified several companies which appear to have broken the guidelines that we've established. We'll be identifying others in the days ahead. They'll be given a chance to explain the purpose or the reason for their high prices. But I will not hesitate to identify those companies that violate the price guidelines so that the people of this nation can take appropriate action. And I think it's one of the best ways possible for me to learn.
Do we really save that much in energy?
A considerable number of lives to have the 55-mile-per-hour speed limit. That's my own opinion.
Thank you.
President Carter is speaking to a crowd of
See, gray hair there?
Half of it going out there.
He trying to look. Okay, look at how it works.
That was terrific, people, really. But one thing, it looks as though now we have about 10 people. See how close y'all are? Okay, let's come back and we'll do one more.
He'll be getting off the bike, he'll be taking off his helmet, taking off his gloves and all that jazz. It won't go as far as that, David, in this shot. And then we'll cut. You can try your line, see if it works, play with it. 250, the 250 millimeter, hopefully will pick up something.
Most all the time.
Oh, Mr. Holly.
Yeah. Where's Diane? Where's the stand-in?
Right here.
Let's get the stand.
Okay, I should have one glove on.
Okay, action! Where's your door lock?
Okay, once again. Here we go. Sorry, Ben.
You see his face? Well, it was fair, you know. I'd give it a rating of about a 3 or 4. The color was good.
It's not going to be an Academy Award winning picture, but it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun to do, you know. It seemed like everyone was on vacation, including the main characters.
Yeah, right. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, I have been looking at it before. Yeah, you've been looking this way. I don't know how you do it, but you do it. It's not his line that's making you do that. No. It's not him. I know it now. What are we on, Carradine? Yeah, right. Go.
Did we win, Charlie? What's the trouble with Charlie? You don't believe in 70.
Okay, loosen up the 50.
And the idea that we ought to shut down all nuclear power because some person shut off a backup system too soon, to me is crazy. Now wait a minute, I'm not going to argue with you. You've asked your question. The thing that has to happen is we've got to look and be sure these systems are properly designed, but as far as I'm concerned, nuclear power can make as much a contribution to our energy needs and do it without reliance upon the Saudi Arabians or anybody else as any other system. And I think it's wrong for us to say you've got to shut down all nuclear plants because of some so far ungrounded fear that something may go wrong someday. What we expected.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a little. I own him, okay? Gerald him. Okay.
Independent suspension, of course. Original V8 that Chevrolet brought out in 1955. Transmission is set up to upshift at 5,300 RPM.
on top of old ones. You want to know why? It's not true. The smart enough to take care of it. I know that isn't true. I was there.
Also very involved in
Controls just play hob. I could use another word. But controls play hob with competition, with capital investments, and they create shortages. And there's another thing, remember? When they take off wage and price controls, it's like removing logs from a dam. Everything just bursts through all at one time, and you have an inflation rate like you would not believe. Remember 1973, 1974, when they removed those wage and price controls, we went into double-digit 12% inflation.
This is nerve-wracking.
Committee from out of state, but with our hard-working young... I'm Pat Walker, and since this is an agricultural area to which you have returned, and we are primarily a farming community here, would it be possible for you to meet with our Elk City farmers?
I'm excited is my first thought right now. It just seems like a dream come true, really. You know, you don't, these things happen in dreamland. They don't happen to people like Pat Walker in Elk City, Oklahoma. I don't really know what I will be thinking when I walk into the White House. Before I do it, okay?
You can't edit these, can't you? $1,065 and $9,065.
And we got it. Here we go.
Support Dr. Ned Benton's termination of Dr. Paul Inbody, a non-scheduled employee.
He resigned. You had a right to accept his resignation. I don't think you had any right to do anything else without hearing it. I think it's extremely unfair and doesn't reflect credit on the fairness of this board.
Well, Mr. Stipe apparently is speaking for him in some capacity. I think it's rather unfair for Mr. Stipe to come in when the TV cameras are rolling and make such statements when in private, before this meeting started, the chairman of this board was advised that Dr. Inbody did not want to have a hearing. And I would say, speaking for myself, if he wants a hearing, we'll give him a hearing and we'll afford him due process. But we were advised that he did not want such a hearing.
Louise, if you'll call the roll, please.
Cook.
Yes.
Curtin.
No.
Kirk. James Kirk.
Okay. Hold up for just a second. I'll try to let you know.
Audio, hello, hello. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'll try to let you know.
Good work. Good work. Can you just take everything out of your pockets, your necklace, rings, turn around and put it through that hole in the window up there.
The rest of it, what's that north-south street there, you know?
To make a statement to these people here, the media, tell them to, you know, take it easy, don't pick it up hitchhikers.
Y'all get that on tape?
Yes,
I haven't been very active in the last few years in pictures. They've sort of taken Westerns away from us. I hate to see them go away.
The National Cowboy Hall of Fame and Western Heritage Center are very pleased to present this special award to Joe Jergens.
I'm going to spare you that ordeal. Suffice it to say that the awards were started.
It's 8:09.
Right.
We'll start.
9 o'clock. I couldn't tell you where you've been.
I haven't seen that.
Because of that, we don't feel that the consumer is being properly protected because there is only partial regulation of the natural gas that generates electricity for Oklahoma Gas and Electric Company's distribution. There is no one to tell that there's a fair return given to Mustang, that the charges are not excessive.
this clown?
We are playing Russian roulette. Every time a load of this material goes through our city limits, we have spun the gun barrel and hoped for an empty chamber.
The locomotive was traveling 81 miles per hour when it struck the 25-ton cask. This slow-motion footage shows more clearly what happened at impact.
Lawsuits and none of us will be making any money.
That if we start attacking it on a city-by-city basis across this country, that indeed we're going to do a great disservice to a lot of other folks, and we're going to spread the hazard to someplace else, and maybe even increase the hazard as we force the truckers off of the interstate system, for the safest transportation, highway transportation system, onto the back roads as they start dodging and darting their way across the country. And you know, the problem disappears from Oklahoma City and occurs in Piedmont or Perkins Corners or Gotebo.
The jet black smoke from burning diesel fuel could be seen for miles around Columbus, Kansas. It was early this morning when a freight train rounded a bend in the track and rammed into the rear of another freight parked on the tracks. In the caboose that took the brunt of the collision was H.L. Hines of Manette, Missouri. He was killed instantly. 2 other train crewmen were treated and released from a southeast Kansas hospital. Nearly 1,000 residents of Columbus, Kansas were evacuated for a 3-hour period because authorities feared that a tank car loaded with ammonia might explode. Workmen were able to pull that car free and move it away from the fire. By 9:30 this morning, all residents had been moved back into their homes.
Come right across here, and you could have touched it. And it was the steel that it would just chill you. It was the steel. It made me nervous, and I looked out there, and my old truck said, I said, Lord, let me get out of here. Brand new build, we just built it. I just got through it.
Is about one?
Lives in your area, you know, and he sends his children to your schools, and he shares your concern about high prices. But if
George Nye. This is my wife.
You live here?
Well, we did.
Yeah.
We got to the cellar, tore the door out of my husband's hand. It was going on and off. And we had two
Well,
of
we're
them.
just happy. We'll apply for anything that's available to help these people. But obviously, they're going to need low interest loans. The businesses will need disaster loans so that they can be opened as soon as possible.
Back right now.
Yes.
That girlish couple circulate one notch. Gonna wheel and deal, crank 'em on in. Pass through, trade by, touch a quarter, scoot back, boys go. And the boys run around that girl and square through. 3/4 round, don't stand there, the middle left with your left hand. Here we go, right, left, grand. Get a grand, right, left, you know, and I meet you, honey, gonna promenade. Get 'em here and there, promenade, get around the square, and here we go, everybody dance. Gonna walk around the left-hand lady, seesaw, the pretty little town. And the big fine star, through the dance, I through the right, stay on there, get here and there, promenade, get around the square, here we go, everybody.
I don't think it's in the best interest of the state to have a substantial reduction in general revenue funds. I do support the elimination of the so-called tax on a tax strictly because I think the people of Oklahoma have gotten the impression that there's something wrong with that, although I don't really think so. But it's placed us in a situation where there are not really many possibilities of compromise as far as income taxes are concerned.
My position right now is that taxes, wherever they are, at whichever level they find themselves, should not be raised. I campaigned on a promise that we would not raise taxes. I'd try not to have taxes raised, that I would work for a tax reduction. And to come off of that premise is coming off of my campaign pledge, and I feel sometimes that's what's wrong with us, is that we tend to come off a little often on too many of our campaign pledges. I've made it, and I intend to try to keep it.
I want to make that clear that Dr. Benton in no way refused to bring the papers, and that wasn't the corrections. And then I think the OSB. We felt like that we would need the papers of Dr. Paul Inbody in our inquiry, and I found out yesterday that the OSBI was picking the papers up and their investigation of Dr. Paul Inbody, and I felt like the committee, I didn't know how long they were going to be tied up over the OSBI. Committee members about that a little bit later. Is it with some of you? You be thinking about it, and I will. You do this, Mary.
For next week. Where are you? Where did you? Oh, okay.
Justified.
Your name is Jean.
But I don't think.
Oklahoma State's doing it at Tinkerfield. The University of Oklahoma's doing it at Tinkerfield. Langston today is doing it at Tinker. Northeastern is doing it. All the other state colleges are doing it. And why the Attorney General would give an opinion that singles Langston out is beyond my whole sense of understanding. But I submit to you that the opinion is absolutely wrong.
I think we have very carefully assigned people to areas of the building, but as I said before, when you've got a campus this large, you can't be everywhere at all times.
So why is that?
One of us will come back and check, and make sure that there's nobody in the gym, while we're outside. So we come back, go to the office or whatever the procedure may be. But I'm satisfied in my mind, that if we were here, it wouldn't have happened,
You know what that calls, don't you? Hey, hurry up. Let's go, let me have the ball.
No, you did.
Everything you get is second or third hand. Now, you very seldom ever get to first interview on a witness. And usually your victim's been talked to by a teacher, a counselor, a nurse before we ever get to them. And sometimes the victims are confused to the actual facts of what happened by the time we get to interview them.
Would it help for the school?